I think Vermont was the Green Mountain Boys. Vermont. I think it might have been Delaware too. Vermont, right? Or New Hampshire. The Green Mountain Boys. I like the Green Mountain Boys. That should be the debate. But right now we have one right-wing party and another right-wing party and no oppositional party. And then I rant for another hour. So anybody who knows a lick about presidential politics, that knows about the Electoral College, how elections work here in the United States, they understand that there's safe states, and then there's the important, significant swing states. There's the irrelevant, who gives a crap what the stupid-ass voters think states, the safe states, the irrelevant states, and then the swing states. And there's nothing inherently good about being a swing state. Essentially what a swing state is they're schizophrenic, okay? So the states that were swing states last year, at least 5 states were unanimously considered swing states, and that was North Carolina, Nevada, Iowa, Ohio, and Florida. Those were, without a doubt, across the board, all 5 of the people that I researched in early August of 2016, all 4 or 5 of the people, of the references of the sources, they all said that North Carolina, Nevada, Iowa, Ohio, and Florida were all swing states. 6 of them were maybe swing states. Some of them said that they were, others did not. They were Virginia, Colorado, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Wisconsin, and Michigan. Okay? So those are the winners. Those are the winners. Those were the states that actually mattered. Those were the states that both the Democrats and the Republicans put a lot of time and money into. They went there. They talked to you. They made sure there was commercials on the air. They wanted to know what the hell Colorado, Pennsylvania, and Nevada, what those voters were thinking. So those 11 states were relevant, not because they're better, not because of anything like that, but just that they had a good mixture of voters who would vote maybe Democrat or maybe Republican. So they're just perfectly schizophrenic when it comes to the two-party system, which actually is quite insane. If you want to come down to it, when it comes between Republicans and Democrats, Democrats are generally the party of the lesser evils. But since the Democrats take Hillary, right, she was pretty much right-wing conservative with a little bit, a hint of liberalism, just enough to get some of those progressives to vote for her. In general, the Democrats are the lesser of the two evils. So there, I went ahead and solved that for you, all you schizophrenic states. The debate is between what? Right-wing, warmongering corporatists who love bankers and a right-wing, corporatist, warmongering party. They're the same. What we need is the Bernie Sanders versus the Hillary Clinton, the Jill Stein versus the Hillary Clintons, the corporatists versus the progressives. That's the conversation that we need to have. The Democrats are so conservative, they're not liberal anymore. We need to actually have a progressive versus the Democratic Party. That should be the debate. But right now we have one right-wing party and another right-wing party and no oppositional party. And so the scope of debate for those 11 relevant swing states is all the way over here. Or I guess it'd be over here for you all, right? The right side. So the far, far, far right or the almost far, far, far right. That's the choice in the greatest democracy in the world. That's the choice. So we get Tweedledee, Tweedledum. We get syphilis. We get gonorrhea. Our choices are Hitler or Mussolini. We either get shot in the head or we get crushed from the bottom up. Those are the 2 choices. We get 2 shitty choices when it comes to our leaders. And yet, go to the store and there's 30 different brands of soap. There's 30 different brands of shampoo. So when it comes to washing your hair, we want selection. We want choices. But when it comes to our president, nah. We're just going to stick with 2. And then these 2, Hillary and Trump, they were not liked. Nobody liked them. Everybody that was voting for one or the other was doing it because they didn't like the other one. So they were saying, I hate Trump so much, that's why I'm voting for Hillary. Or the opposite, I hate Hillary so much, that's why I'm voting for Trump. The voters were not flocking to the polls to say, God, I cannot wait to vote for my candidate. So anyways, at least 39 safe states in the United States. We had at least 39 safe states. At the most 45, right? Either 5 swing states to up till 11. So 11 possible swing states. We'll go ahead and give them all swing state status. 11 minus 50, 39 safe states are left, okay? So which 39 safe states were just so completely irrelevant, nobody in their right mind thought that they would ever be relevant. Guarantee you, Mississippi and Alabama, they're dumb as fuck. They're going to vote for Republican. They're the worst in the nation. So there's 39 safe states, and then you have Nebraska and Maine, who are proportional states. So they actually split the votes depending on how many they actually win, which makes more sense. But all the other states are winner take all. So if you win Alabama by 1 vote, then you get all their electoral votes. But if you win by 1 vote in Nebraska or Maine, well, then that means the other person is going to get a couple electoral votes. So because the United States has a winner take all system and the Electoral College, the reason why we have this really fucked up Frankenstein kind of Byzantine system, the reason why we have this kind of fucked up system is, one, we got the Electoral College, right? And then they're winner take all. They're winner take all. The loser gets nothing whatsoever. And then the people that supported Hillary, she's a cheater and a fucking loser. There's no way you're still listening to Hillary and all her vast amounts of wisdom right now. You're listening to her podcast. You went ahead and, sitting there and listening to... All right, so back to the numbers. You got 39 safe states, but then you have Nebraska and Maine, who are proportional states. They're not winner-take-all. So take those 2 states off. Now you have 37. 37 safe winner-take-all states. 37 states in the United States. That doesn't mean diddly shit when it comes to the presidential election. And when your entire state didn't mean diddly shit to the entire election, then what do you think your stupid little vote is going to do? It's not going to do anything. Alabama, you're going to vote for Trump, no matter what, Alabama. So that means if you went out and voted for Trump, you didn't do anything. You didn't change shit. You just went along with the flow. So good for you. I guess you could be like, hey, I voted for the winner. Well, you don't really know much about power and politics, okay? Your little tiny vote is very insignificant amount of power, and the fact that you voted for the majority, you went along with the current, right? So why would anybody listen to you? The way I vote is I'm savvy with my vote. I want my politicians to earn my vote. You need to say something that I like, and then I'll vote for you. If you're not saying anything I like, you have to earn my vote. You have to earn my vote. I'm not going to just give it to you. I'm not just going to give it to the Republican. I'm not just going to give it to the Democrat. You got to earn my vote. Remarkably, Donald Trump actually wound up taking all of Nebraska. So typically, Nebraska would have been a safe state, but because they're proportional, the stakes aren't as high. And then when it comes to Maine, 3 out of the 5 electoral votes went for Hillary, and that was expected too. So those are, the stakes aren't as high. So there's 37 irrelevant, pointless, safe states, plus Washington, D.C., that's safely Democrat. And what states are these? The 37 states that did not matter whatsoever in the 2016 election are as follows. Starting with the Republicans. Number 1, Alaska. Number 2. So let's see, what do I know about Alaska? That's Sarah Palin, right? But then it's also Mike Gravel. So you got Sarah Palin that came from Alaska, Mike Gravel. It's up there. It's real cold. You can see Russia from Sarah Palin's house. There's oil and fossil fuel industries up there. They give the citizens a $1,000, $2,000 check just so they can ravage their natural or their national parks. So Alaska is really far away from the continental United States. They're already kind of made themselves irrelevant anyways, but they went ahead and took the extra step, and now they're completely irrelevant. So Alaska is not even part of the continental United States. They're kind of like the, runaway child, the divorced. Nah, you're out, Alaska, okay? You're dead to me. You're dead to us. You're no longer part of the family. I wonder actually what would happen if Alaska tried to secede from the Union. Would we invade Alaska with the Marines and the Army? And then what if Alaska was like, we are Alaskans and we will fight for our rights to be Alaskans? You ever wonder about this shit? So, yeah, basically the United States has disowned Alaska, no longer a part of the Union. So, Alaska, you're safely Republican, you're irrelevant, you don't matter. Be Russian, Canadian, Inuit. Same thing with Hawaii. It's kind of like, Hawaii ran away from home. Okay, well, I mean, Hawaii kind of, if we accept Hawaii, why wouldn't we accept the Virgin Islands or Puerto Rico? Aren't they both colonies? Didn't we colonize all this? Now that I think about it. Alabama is irrelevant too, and really, I don't even feel good about picking on Alabama. Alabama, you're the worst in the country. Alabama and Mississippi, you're the fucking worst. Your Confederate flags, your racism, your poverty, it's fucking disgusting and it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So Mississippi, Alabama, get your shit together. Arkansas was safely Republican. Arizona was safely Republican. Fucking Arizona. They killed my friend, Ronnie Lee Smith. Arizona's criminal justice system is bullshit. They don't give a shit about actually helping people or rehabilitating. It's straight up fucking fascism there. Right across the border, didn't they have that sheriff dickhead, sheriff and immigration dickhead? What I'm trying to say, Arizona, if you wanted to be relevant, everybody knew you were going to vote for Donald Trump. So you went out and voted for Donald Trump, you wasted your fucking vote. You went out, you voted with the majority. Everybody knew that Arizona was going to vote for Donald Trump. So not even Donald Trump really put his time and effort in it. He takes you for granted. He might give you some lip service, but he's not going to fight for Arizona. You're already in his pocket. He has no reason to fight for you. And then since Hillary is already going to lose Arizona, why would you go out and vote for Hillary? This two-party system is bullshit. You will waste your vote voting for either one of the two major party candidates. The only way that Arizona could have been relevant in this election would be if they would have voted for Jill Stein or Gary Johnson or maybe none of the above. If they would have voted differently, if they would have voted independently, and let's say they voted for Jill Stein, okay? So Arizona voted for Jill Stein. What the fuck does the whole country think about Arizona now? Holy shit! When did Arizona all of a sudden get educated and smart and started having their own independent mind? Holy shit, and they're progressive as fuck. They're voting for Jill Stein. They're ahead of the pack. They're already voting for the Greens before everybody else was. That would be the only way that Arizona could have been relevant in last year's election. They chose to be the dumb, backwards, inbred, dumb fucks that everybody knows that they are, and went ahead and voted for Trump just like everybody knew that they were going to do. Georgia was solidly Republican. Georgia Peaches, Killer Mike, I don't know. Indiana was solidly Republican. Idaho was solidly Republican. So what is that? Corn and potatoes? Kansas. We're not in Kansas anymore. So that's what? Nice in mid-America, nice in the heart of America right there. The heartland, Kansas. You're fucking Republicans? You sick motherfuckers. Haven't you goddamn Republicans done enough? Kentucky. Oh, yeah, Kentucky actually voted for Bill Clinton. They had a long strand of Democrats there for a while. The governors have been Democrat, the working class people, right? So the Democratic Party used to have a hold of Kentucky. Not anymore. Not anymore. Mitch McConnell's Red Revolution has taken over. So right now you have the counter-revolutionary. He's a reactionary. But Kentucky is solidly red. You're irrelevant. You're irrelevant. You voted for Trump. Who gives a shit? You hurried up and voted for John McCain. You're the first one. Who gives a shit? Your vote doesn't fucking matter. Everybody knew you were going to vote for Trump. Who cares? Louisiana, right? Louisiana, hot sauce. They got a French element. New Orleans, right? Creole. How come they're so dumb? Louisiana, you have French culture in you. French culture. Louisiana, your whole state is named for King Louis the 16th, or the 14th, right? The monarch of France. Mississippi, of course, solidly Republican. Missouri. There's a big shocker, right? Bunch of fucking Republicans killing everybody in Ferguson. No wonder they're sending so many black people into prison in Ferguson, because it's being run by Republicans. Hey, Missouri, your fucking state is being run by a bunch of right-wing neo-Nazis. And I'd like to think that the Democrats would be better, but they had the crime bill, the 3 strikes are out. They actually increased incarceration. So what the fuck are we supposed to do? We don't have an opposition party. Oh, I guess we should have an opposition party. That seems to be the Federalist Party, the Labor Party, the Green Party. Try to reform the Democrats, but if they're not going to become progressive, fuck them. You want to be a bunch of right-wing corporatists? You want to be a bunch of Republican lights, pretend to be Republicans? Why not just be a fucking Republican? Nobody wants a fake Republican. If they wanted a Republican, they would have voted for a Republican. Every once in a while, you know, they might actually want a liberal. They might actually want a progressive there in office, a socialist. A socialist. Montana, big-ass state. I actually heard Montana had less population than Rhode Island. And that they used to have unlimited speed limit. It's not true anymore. Montana, North Dakota, right? Pretty much same thing going on there with the wide open spaces, but you also got a bunch of Native Americans in North Dakota, right? Isn't that where Standing Rock is? Oh, big shocker. A bunch of fucking Republicans, a Republican state attacking Native Americans. They're attacking black people in Ferguson. They're attacking Native Americans in North Dakota. And your fucking state was irrelevant. You all going to vote for Trump. Who cares? Oklahoma, you're going to vote for Trump. Oklahoma's got all that earthquakes. You got a whole shit ton of earthquakes due to fracking in Oklahoma. In fact, Oklahoma is so oppressed, they're about to burst at the ribs, you know. They are seething. They had started the Pirate Party. The Pirate Party. They got enough signatures, and somebody started the Pirate Party because they're like, well, fuck the two-party system. But Oklahoma is the state that you cannot get an independent on it no matter what the fuck you do. For the last 20 years, you've only had two political parties. If you're an independent, you cannot run for president if you're in Oklahoma. Great democracy there, Oklahoma, man. You guys are doing fucking good. You fucking backwards Republican fucks. South Carolina. Man, South Carolina, there was a bright, shining moment with South Carolina during Reconstruction. Abraham Lincoln wins the Civil War. Unfortunately, Andrew Johnson starts taking all those gains away. But in South Carolina, the majority of the Constitutional Convention were black. They were black. The ones who wrote the Constitution of South Carolina immediately after the Civil War, the majority of them were black. And then the reporter said, even though they didn't have the Robert Rules of Order and they weren't doing procedural, you know, like standing in line and shit like the way that white people were doing, they said that they were well-meaning and they wanted to get things accomplished, and that was actually more important. So I think it said the unlettered Ethiopians were the most impressive at this Constitutional Convention in South Carolina. South Carolina, you all were irrelevant too. Who gives a fuck what South Carolina thinks? Who gives a shit about that whole state? Your state don't fucking matter, and one of you voters, you all don't matter either. South Carolina, that was where that cop shot the black dude in the back, right? Oh, South Carolina. And if I get some of these mixed up, I'll think Connecticut. Could it have been Delaware or some other place where that Pequot massacre happened? Probably. You can correct me if you want to, but it's in the vicinity. So, and this is all America. North Carolina, that was Dylan Roof, right? Killed 9 people in the church. Hey, there's black people in the church. So a North Carolinian was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go murder them black people who's in church. North Carolina's a swing state, though. They're like, do we want to go hard right or just soft right? Hard right or soft? Yeah, I can't make up my mind. North Carolina's a swing state, so they're actually relevant. Never mind. South Carolina, South Dakota. Would anybody actually, I mean, that seems south. I'm not south of nobody, okay? It seems a little rude. It seems like it could be offensive. So South Dakota, there are Native Americans going on there and, you know, wide open spaces. Bunch of fucking Republicans. Tennessee. Oh, Tennessee. That's where the KKK was formed. That's where Martin Luther King got shot. And also the person who created the nuclear bomb was from Tennessee. Great job, Tennessee. You're really putting forth, you know, God, man. Thanks for the KKK, Tennessee, and thanks for being fucking irrelevant. Maybe you shouldn't have it. Maybe you shouldn't be independent. Maybe you shouldn't be thinking for yourselves. Just follow what your Donald said. Everybody knew you were going to vote for Donald. You went ahead and ran into irrelevancy. You know what? Let's be irrelevant. Yeah. Good job. Make sure you put on your fucking KKK hoodies on, you fucking low-life, racist pieces of shit. Then you have Texas, Utah, West Virginia, and Wyoming. North, south, east, west. When I think of Wyoming, I think of yaks. Yakety yak. Don't come back. Not even sure where Wyoming is. I guess it's one of the, it's out west somewhere. I think deserts and mountains, rocks, maybe cows, yaks. Utah. So that's a bunch of fucking Mormons. A bunch of Mormons voted for Trump, right? Remember when he was with all those Christians and they're all bowing their head? I don't even think he's religious. What a faker. What a faker. Utah's got all those Mormons, and so being such, right-wing Christian Sharia law motherfuckers, don't lynch any of your goddamn atheists. You will make the Jesus Christ out of them. You will make a martyr out of the atheists that you lynch. You heard what I said, Utah. Don't make me come over there. Don't make me come down there, okay? I don't want to go down south in order to clean up your fucking dirty work. West Virginia, of course, even dumber and backwards. They're even dumber and backwards than Kentucky. But West Virginia had a good history. West Virginia broke off from Virginia because they were in favor of the Union. They wanted to stick with the North. That's West Virginia's whole story. No, we're not seceding with Virginia. We're going to cut these mountains out of Virginia, and we're going to create our own state. And then Texas, right? You had Donald Trump run to Texas and talk about guns. And if you said that you voted for Donald Trump because of guns, I wouldn't even argue with you. One interesting thing about Texas, Sam Houston. I heard Sam Houston refused to be seated as governor because the legislature had already seceded to be with the Confederacy. So again, Sam Houston, I didn't know Sam Houston was such a, I look at Texas just like, it's like Alabama, only on fucking crack, only on steroids, right? They're bigger, but they're dumber, right? They are stupid, but they're louder about it. But both West Virginia and Texas had some, pretty inspiring people in the beginning. So those are the 22 irrelevant safe states that are safely Republican. Safely irrelevant. Who gives a shit about any of these fucking states? Nobody. Not Donald, not Hillary, nobody. You could have really showed the world something if you would have gone independent. But you don't give a shit. You don't understand power. That's the one time people ask you for your damned opinion. You're probably annoyed, aren't you? God damn it, I don't even want to vote this time. It's too hard. But then you're going to watch American Idol and you're like, oh, I vote for that one. So now the irrelevant Democratic states. California, 100% Democrats all the time. It's hard to insult the purely Democratic only, okay? The only thing I'm going to say about the Democratic states is why not progressive? Hillary Clinton was pretty much like this far away from being right-wing. She was slightly liberal, and the reason is because where else are the progressives going to go? If she's slightly more liberal, well, then you have to go with her, right? Because you only have two choices. That's our system. You only got two choices, so you drive 30 damn boat away for a goddamn right-wing, warmongering, bank-loving. She was against marijuana. Remember when she said, we need more research on that marijuana. Jimmy Carter promised to decriminalize it. They don't even promise outright. We didn't get that. Jimmy Carter promised outright, and we didn't get it. So even if they promise it outright, it's part of their agenda. They're going to try to push for it. But if they don't even mention it, or worse, say that the research is out, like she doesn't know, right? Bill Clinton, he's like, I did not inhale. And then she's like, I need to research more? Get the fuck out of here. We are Americans. We have a right to our own body. Everywhere the war on drugs has been implemented, it has failed. And everywhere the alternatives has been implemented, it has succeeded. So she's very much a fucking warmonger, pro-war on drugs. The one actually saving grace about Hillary that I came across, I mean, she's better on abortion, right? But the one issue that I came across with Hillary was how she talked to the police. I saw some transcripts, and she's pretty badass. She was pretty badass. I wish I would have heard some of that real rawness, beforehand, instead of the polished, poll-tested fucking robot that we all got to see. That said nothing. That lied. That bullshitted right to your damn faces. So California, y'all started out with the marijuana thing, but then you let all these other states, Oregon, Washington, Colorado, kind of take your thunder away from you, and then you all got police brutality going on there, and then you all also voted down the homosexual thing. So, you're supposed to be the best liberals out of all of us. You're not a very good representation of it, I'll be honest with you. Connecticut. What a dumb name for a state, and I can think of nothing when it comes to Connecticut. Connecticut. The only thing I can think of is y'all killed a bunch of Native Americans. Wasn't that where the Mystic River Massacre, the Pequot War was, right? So the Pilgrims came over, killed a whole bunch of Native Americans, and then declared Thanksgiving, and we've been having Thanksgiving every day afterwards, so you could say Connecticut for that. Washington, D.C., you guys are right there. You see the beast right in front of your face. Right in front of your face. Be relevant. Be relevant. Vote for none of the above. Vote for none of the above. That would be just as powerful of a message. If you had 51% of D.C. that voted for none of the above, that means that D.C. is on the verge of rebellion. D.C. is on the verge of doing their own thing. So the Republicans and Democrats should be scared. They're not winning the voters over, but the independents, the Greens and the Libertarians and the American Party and the Federalist Party and what other parties that are freedom, peace and freedom party, all these political parties will look at D.C. as an opportunity. Wow. The whole damn population, the majority of the population do not want Tweedledee or Tweedledum. The majority of the population vote against syphilis and they vote against chlamydia. Holy shit, they might actually start thinking for themselves. So if one of these states, any one of these states, would have stuck its neck out, it would have been proud, voted for an independent, it would change that state's culture for the better forever. It'd be the first one, and it would encourage a lot of other people to say, well, hell, if they're independent, I'm independent too, so I'm going to try to. So that'll have a rush of more candidates, more ideas, more of a robust discussion, and hopefully in the great pool of ideas, the best ideas succeed. Delaware, safely Democrat. Hawaii, safely Democrat. Hawaii is a majority state. There are less white people in Hawaii than the coloreds. Illinois, safely Democratic. So Illinois is Illinoising. Illinois, named after the Illinois tribes. Native American tribe used to be called Illinois, and actually half the states are named after Native Americans. So because we're an imperialist nation, and we've always been an imperialist nation since Plymouth Rock, right? Since Plymouth Rock, or since San Salvador. But you have Illinois always annoyed me because Kentucky is the one that gave birth to Abraham Lincoln. But Kentucky doesn't appreciate Abraham Lincoln. Those neo-Confederates actually can't stay as you want to see a barren wasteland, you want to see a ghost town, go to his birthplace. Go to his landmark. Go to anything related to Abraham Lincoln in Kentucky. They make sure, Matt Bennett said he's going to take the Confederate statue of Jefferson Davis out of the rotunda, but he hasn't done that. He hasn't done that. So Kentucky is the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln. Indiana is the boyhood home of Abraham Lincoln. And then Illinois is the land of Lincoln. So Illinois takes his entire life and career. But if I think about it, that's who gave him a chance. That's who gave his rise to power, right? He was a senator in Illinois, then became president. So without Illinois, we wouldn't have had President Lincoln. How did Indiana treat him? I'm not for sure how Indiana treated him. For some reason that he went to Illinois, right? So I think his dad was beating the shit out of him and making him slave for his neighbor to pay off his debts. So that's my impression of Indiana. And then it was 0 to 9 was Kentucky or so, and then he went to Indiana. So that would have been his boyhood to teenage years. So that would have been sort of his more formidable years, the years that he would remember most of. I don't know, I guess he probably would remember what Kentucky did to Lincoln. Well, first we killed his grandfather, right? Killed his grandfather. Then we fucked his dad over, Thomas Lincoln, of his land deals. So there are so many land speculators and overlapping land claims, and then corrupt, judges and circuit courts, and basically like the 200. There are some people that would get 250,000 acres of land. They would just be awarded, from Virginia, and then they expected to keep the entire. Anyways, then you had squatters, and then you had people trying to make sense out of the whole goddamn thing. And then the Native Americans, right? None of the land was even the whites to begin with. It's not funny. It's depressing. Kentucky means the dark and bloody river. It's a Shawnee word. Dark and bloody river. Shawnee's homeland is Kentucky. So I think it's a Shawnee that killed Abraham Lincoln, which some people speculate he was a German because Lincoln, the K, Lincoln, but then they changed Lincoln to Lincoln. So I guess that's, we gave him his name, right? I don't know. I think he was Lincoln when he left. But anyways, that's what we did to Abraham Lincoln. Kentucky did. We via Kentucky. I'm not in Kentucky now, but, you know, you could take the boy out of Kentucky, but you can't take Kentucky out of the boy. I think. At least that's true for me. If that's true for Abe, he did say during the Civil War that he only hoped to have God on his side, but he must have Kentucky. He might have been somewhat partial to it because he was born there and just wasn't accepted. Right? Indiana didn't treat him right either, and then eventually Illinois did. So big shocker, right? To Republican states, safely Republican states were shitty to Abraham Lincoln, and he's the first Republican. He was the third party that actually became a major political party. He's the proof, you know, it was Federalist and Whigs and Anti-Federalists and Democrats, Republican Democrats. They're kind of like the same party. So the Jeffersonians and the Federalists, all right? So Abraham Lincoln, thank you, Illinois, for giving us Senator Lincoln so the country could have President Lincoln. I don't know anything. The Chicago, right? So that means they gave us Obama too. So again, thank you. I cannot think of any your Native American genociders, but that's, you know, the whole country. So that's bad. So fuck you, Illinois, you Native American genociding sons of bitches. Maryland, named after a fucking monarch, right? I thought we overthrew the monarchy. But Illinois, Maryland, Minnesota, Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. Everybody knew you were going to vote for Hillary Clinton. You guys ain't Minnesota. You think you're so fucking independent? You're not independent. You were like, well, we got syphilis, but then chlamydia is a little less evil than syphilis, so I'm going to go with chlamydia because, you know, syphilis, you got the rashes, and I know nothing about these diseases, but they're, you know, bad. And if one is slightly less worse than the other, does that make it good? Does that make it good? So the fact that you're so in the Democrats' pocket, again, the swing states are only relevant because they're schizophrenic. That's the only reason that they're relevant. But these Democratic states, you all could become relevant if you had a robust, progressive, independent movement there. If you had a working class labor movement in your state, which you don't, because you guys are voting for corporatists. All that money that she got from Goldman Sachs, that's who you Democrats are. All of a sudden, Democrats are for the big banks, for the corporations. They love Henry Kissinger. They're bombing Honduras. Bertie Cáceres, that environmentalist, is getting killed because of goddamn Hillary Clinton. She's a warmonger. She's, you know, invaded this country, that country. We came and we saw he fucking died, right? We would have gone into Syria just like Trump. So Trump and Hillary are pretty much the same side, you know. What little differences with this? The system is fucked. And there's some people out here, like homeless people, that need some help right now. And then the more that you allow these injuries to go unhealed, it only gets worse and worse and worse. These people only get more desperate. That's why you had a lot of poor people that voted for Trump, because he was at least being populist. He was putting his message directly out to the people. I care about you. Washington's corrupt. The media's corrupt. Everybody's fucking you. But Donald Trump's got the answer. Well, that at least he was talking to him. You know, I disagree that he's got the answer. But when he says this shit, he's going to bring the jobs back to Michigan. People hear that. People understand that. I mean, what did Hillary say? She said she's going to put coal miners out of work. Massachusetts is solidly Democrat. Massachusetts, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Washington. So I went ahead and just rounded up that list. But Massachusetts, again, same bullshit, right? Pilgrims killed a bunch of Native Americans. In fact, Massachusetts is the name of the tribe, the Massachusetts tribe, so that's pretty fucked up, right? It's like, oh, we didn't steal your state. The whole state's named for you. Kind of like New Mexico, right? No, this isn't America. We didn't take your country away from you. This is still Mexico. Only it's a new Mexico, huh? Wink, wink. The Massachusetts Revolution of 1774. I heard they actually kicked the British out of Massachusetts in 1774, so before the revolution happened, Massachusetts had its own revolution. But then I heard 1775 there was the Boston invasion, one of the first victories. I don't know the first victories, but they invaded Boston in 75. So, and Boston, right? Boston, bunch of Irish fucking mix, bunch of mixed fucking drunk bastards going around beating people up and shit. Boston might be the only city that legitimately can celebrate St. Patrick's Day because of their Irish heritage. They've probably been carrying that on their backs, you know, for such a long time. Boston, they're known for fighting each other at hockey games, right? So their parents are so fucking competitive. They're going to get into fist fights and it's going to turn bloody. It's a fucking hockey game there, Massachusetts. Chill the fuck out. And it's your children. So even if they succeed and they do well, they're going to be a professional hockey player, right? So that's the extent. That's the height. If they're, you know, awesome at it. And most likely they're not. So, again, Boston, chill the fuck out. One thing I know about Minnesota is Minneapolis, they got internet. Wireless internet for the entire city. All you got to do is pay like $5 or $10 and you could, you know, pay for the wireless internet that the whole city is probably getting cancer from. New Jersey, safely Democrat. Safely Democrat, you keep on fucking electing Chris Christie. Come on, New Jersey. New Jersey is where Armour potted meat is actually made. So, it's the home of Pinnacle Foods. Delaware. I think Delaware is a tax haven. That's where everybody, all the corporations and rich people go to save money for their corporate taxes. They just get incorporated in Delaware and pay no taxes. So that's what you're known for, Delaware. I can't think of any hills or plains or mountains. I know nothing about you, Delaware. I know nothing about you. You have a very bad PR department. You're by the ocean, right? That says you got lobsters, or that's Maine. Maine's got lobsters. What do you got, Delaware? What do you got? I got a half a mind that I think Rhode Island can kick Delaware's ass. I think Rhode Island could kick Montana's ass. There's more people in Rhode Island than all of Montana. Rhode Island. It's the smallest state, so it would actually make more sense if you had to get rid of one state to get rid of Montana, because there's less people there. You would be hurting less people if you got rid of Montana, if you had to drop a nuke. I know it's a horrible hypothetical, but you have to pick one. If you got to drop a nuke on one American state, which one would it be? The one with the least population, not the smallest land size. Quit picking on Rhode Island, everybody. So Rhode Island, what is that? A road that's on an island? Hey, look, there's a road on an island. What should we name it? Look, there's a road on an island. We should call it Rhode Island. Shouldn't we? Hey, there's a Tennessee. We should call it Tennessee. Hey, there's a kin on the Tuckay. Oh, wait, Rhode Island voted for Hillary. Oh, my God, you motherfuckers. You right-wing sons of bitches. Rhode Island, you know, I guess you got some distinction, some notability. You are the smallest state, but you could have been more distinguished. You could have been more notable. The way you could have been more notable, again, if you would have voted for Gary Johnson, if you would have went out and voted for Gary Johnson, they'd be like, holy shit, that means Rhode Island wants to stop the wars. They want to legalize marijuana. They care about, you know, the free market. This would show exactly what you believe in, but you voted for Hillary, so that means you believed in what? You want to go in Syria? Well, you know, fucking Trump did that. What else? She was in favor of a wall. Well, hell, you're going to get a Hillary Clinton wall. You're going to get, you know, a Hillary Clinton war. You're going to get a Hillary Clinton Goldman Sachs. You're going to get Hillary Clinton corporatism. You got all those things with the one you went out and rushed to go vote for. Your votes were irrelevant. All these voters in all these safe states, y'all don't fucking matter. You don't fucking matter. Another thing about Delaware is that Hillary and Donald are hiding their corporations there. They both have a bunch of corporations in Delaware. And they're both 1%. They're both 1 fucking percent. And look at the choices, right, between marijuana. You're going to have Jeff Sessions, who's like, well, marijuana is bad for bad people and bad for bad. And then she's the wife of the man who's like, I didn't inhale. And then they did 3-strike law, massive incarceration. They didn't legalize it. And then she said, the research is out, the verdict is out, and we need to do more research. She would have been just against marijuana as much as, she would have been worse on marijuana than Obama. She was to the right of Obama when it came to marijuana. Oregon, y'all legalize marijuana, and then you're going to go vote for somebody who's against marijuana? Get the fuck out of here. Come on. Vermont, you guys are the home of Bernie Sanders. And guess what? He told you to vote for the fucking corporatist. He also said, don't listen to what he says. So he's got the, paid lip service or whatever. But he is also, he's just said recently he's not a Democrat. He's only doing these amendments. He's been on the fucking outside. He hasn't been a great senator. He keeps telling everybody, the Titanic is about to hit the iceberg, but nobody listens. And, so his power is greatly exaggerated. He doesn't have much say-so. He does have say-so. He does have some power. So you're going to sit there, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, all these pro-pot states, California. You're going to elect a woman that says the verdict is out, the research is out. That's who you're going to vote for. Does that make any sense whatsoever? New York, safely Democratic, right? Safely Democratic. And Eric Garner, that happened in New York. So, come on, guys. But Jill Stein handed him the Green Party on a silver platter, and if Bernie Sanders would have ran as an independent against these two candidates that everybody hated, he would have dominated. 2016 was the rise of Bernie Sanders. That was the socialist revolution. That's how close we got to the socialist revolution. We're not going to have the element of surprise anymore. Now we know that, socialism isn't a dirty word anymore. So that's great, right? Now there's socialists out there, but you're not going to have the shock and the surprise. He was momentous. His rise was exponential. It was wonderful. It was awesome. It was amazing. But the Democrats cheated him. They were, all the polls said that he would have smashed Donald Trump, so the Democrats didn't listen to the science, they didn't listen to the polls, they cheated, and they backed themselves a fake Republican, a Republican-like loser. A loser who got their ass beat. Hillary Clinton got her ass kicked. Holy shit. It wasn't even funny. It wasn't even close. And don't forget, Obama picked a conservative justice. And why did the Democrats cave on the fucking Supreme Court? They should have been like, no, we're not going to make one for another 4 years. Do the Mitch McConnell strategy. Make sure that this country is ungovernable. Because if you work with them, that only strengthens, they only get stronger and stronger. And if the Democratic Party disintegrates, that means everybody will have to be like, well, do I want to be a Republican or do I want to be whatever the fuck is else out there, right? If it's not the Democrats, what the fuck is going to take its place? And if you don't start your own thing, right, you'll be following some other shit. The Republicans, the Trump Republicanism, right? Trumpism is a thing. Trumpism is a thing. Look at fucking France. Look at Brexit. Look at the rise of hate crimes and, bullshit against minorities all throughout the world. Say what you want about third parties. Say what you want about Jill Stein. But Jill Stein took a calculated risk, okay? He could have said, yes, I'll take the Green Party. Then she would have had to have let him have it. Let him take the mantle for the Green Party. But because she, pulled this stunt that showed clearly that he was a sycophant for the Democratic Party. When they asked Donald Trump if he would run as an independent, he says, well, it depends on how the Republicans treat me. Exactly. That's what Bernie should have said, depending on how the Democrats treat me. As soon as Bernie said he would not run as an independent, he threw his leverage away. He had to be a man of his own word, and Chris had just called him out on it. Basically, Bernie Sanders doesn't understand politics. He threw his power away. He should have said, well, we'll see. But instead he said, no, I'm a Democrat. Maybe that's what it was. He was worried about being accepted amongst the Democrat, being a socialist. Regardless, even if he would have said that, he could have said, well, I evolved and I changed my mind, right? Be like Obama on gay marriage. Well, I thought about it, I evolved, and I'm going to run for an independent. And people say, well, he had to work with the people in Congress later on. Yeah. Or he could have been president. He could have been fucking president. Bernie Sanders walked away from his political moment. He walked away from it. Ralph Nader is a prophet. Anyways, those are the 15 safe states for the Democrats. They were safely in Hillary Clinton's pockets. Washington's pecker was in Hillary Clinton's pocket. So she's not going to waste time going to Washington, getting Washington's vote. Neither is Trump, right? He knows he's going to lose. So they might say they're all doing 50-state strategy, or there's actually, all the territories and shit. So the 75-nation strategy. So those are the 37 irrelevant, pointless, safe states. So if I mentioned any of you guys, then fuck you. You don't fucking matter. I don't care about your opinion. Shut the fuck up. You know, I don't want to hear your bullshit. I don't want to hear your bullshit. 37 states in the United States have no fucking say-so when it comes to who their president is, and the American people, the people in those states, 37's vastly, you know, the majority of the people, right? 37, 25 is half, 37, that's way, yes, overwhelming majority of the people. The overwhelming majority of Americans are quite okay with this broken two-party system where they have no power, no say-so, whatsoever. They have no democracy, no referendum, no initiative, no recall. They're not choosing the issues. They're not talking about the issues. They're just picking their master. Who do you want to be your master, Mussolini or Hitler? Well, Mussolini didn't do the concentration camps. Yeah, but he was a fascist warmonger. And are you sure? He was the one that came up with fascism, right? Who is worse, Hitler, Mussolini? There is an answer, right? There is an answer between what's worse between chlamydia and syphilis. Do you want to get a heart attack or do you want to have cancer? Well, let's see, a heart attack would be a quick, sudden death. Cancer would be slow. So I guess cancer would be less than a heart attack, right? If you want to keep on living, if it doesn't matter, then maybe a heart attack is better. When you have two choices between two shitty things, you could make a conversation and you could try to figure out which one is worse. But why is that our mentality? Why do we not go to the polls and say, you know what, I'm voting for Jill Stein. I voted for Jill Stein 4 years ago. I chased a woman this year and wound up fucking my entire vote up, and I will never do that ever again. I will vote. That's more important. I take more satisfaction in voting instead of putting stock in a compromised person. But I voted for Ralph Nader in 2008. And I voted for Jill Stein in 2012. Or wait, did I vote for Cynthia McKinney? I might have voted for Cynthia McKinney. I'm not for sure. I know I voted for the Independent. And I voted for the Independent 2004, 2008, 2012. And I've talked about Jill Stein the entire time with 2016. So my vote would have gone for Jill Stein. I made a bad decision. I should have just voted for Jill Stein. That would have been way better. Instead of saying, wait, you like Jill Stein? I like Jill Stein? Well, then let's create a new world together. No, you're going to cheat me like how Hillary was? Okay, you're going to be like a Democrat. Okay, Democrats, so cheat, loser. Okay, I see what you're doing. You didn't want change. You didn't want change at all. You wanted to conserve everything, keep everything the same. Right. Okay, my point is, when I walk out of the voters' booth, I voted for Jill Stein because I wanted to. I believed in Jill Stein. Jill Stein's a badass. She's a citizen, and if her reforms would have been enacted, then we could have actually saved this country. There's major structural issues that's not going to get solved by the Democrats, definitely not by the Republicans. Expect another Wall Street crash. Expect it. It's going to happen. It is. So the difference between me and a lot of these, voting for the lesser of the two evils voters is I go vote for the person I want to vote for. If you didn't win my vote, I'm not going to go out and vote for you. You got to win me over. Win my vote. When you win my vote and you convince me, by speaking to my issues, then I'll vote for you. But just to think that because I'm a registered Green right now, so I have exited out of the Democratic Party. And until the Democrats can learn to speak for me and my issues, Hillary Clinton's not even close. She's not even close to Jill Stein. She's not even close to Bernie Sanders. Not even close. She looks at Kissinger and likes him. So to those 37 safe states, to the voters of those 37 safe states, you need to pull your heads out of your asses or just get used to being irrelevant for all of perpetuity, for the rest of your goddamn lives. And that 37 number is the ones who are solidly a safe state. There's only 5 states that all Politico, Atlantic, some other ones had said were solidly swing states. Only 5 of them had unanimous consent that they were swing states. So that means out of the 11, there's 6 of them there that could have been safe states. So we'll actually never really know unless you really get into it. But it's possible that we could have had more irrelevant states than just the 37. Imagine a world where the voters don't vote for the lesser of the evils because, that's all they got. Imagine a world where we have a political system that encourages people to run. There's plenty of choices. You got ranked choice voting, so you got, 5, 6, 7 choices. You could rank them, 1, 2, 3, whichever one you think is best. None of your votes are wasted. It's an algorithm, so if your top choice doesn't get enough votes, then your second choice will get your vote. So it's wonderful. It's better. And if we went out and we voted for what we want versus voting for the lesser of the two evils, instead of being like, well, syphilis or chlamydia, what if we went out and said, yes, we want universal health care. We want everybody to have good health. Instead of Coke versus Pepsi, why don't we get some clean drinking water going through the pipes at Flint, Michigan? Instead of voting for Hillary or Hitler or Mussolini, why don't we vote for Gandhi or MLK or Einstein? If Einstein didn't have $1 billion in his pocket, would you laugh at him too? Oh, Einstein, he's running as a green? What a moron! Just makes you think of Winston Churchill. The best argument against democracy is just 5 minutes with the average voter. Instead of making a list of what 5 issues they care about the most and then comparing contracts which one would have a better policy, they're voting on the personality. It's a cult of personality. They're going to watch the TV and just be like, well, according to my TV watching, I think the one on the right's better than the one on the left, and so, based upon my TV watching, that's the extent of the analysis. That's the extent of the analysis. Versus if you had to go to the polls and vote for, do you want universal health care? Do you want marijuana to be legal? Do you want roads or jobs? What is it do you want? You get to vote on the issues, but not in America. Not in the greatest democracy in the world. There is no true blue direct democracy. It's not even close to a direct democracy. We're supposed to be afraid of tyranny of the majority. Bullshit. The minority have been running things, and it's tyranny of the big business class. It's tyranny of the military-industrial complex. It's tyranny of cash money. It's a tyranny of power for power's sake. That's what we got right now. Tyranny of the oligarchy. We're so far away from a democracy, I would welcome tyranny of the majority. Wait, the majority of the American people woke up and they're actually getting their voices heard? They're actually implementing legislation, passing new laws, and getting things done? They're building new hospitals and new schools, making sure that everybody has all the services and goods that they need. Make sure they're all surviving, right? Food, water, clothing, housing. Everybody needs a job in America. If you don't have a job, then you don't have a right to live. You've got to have a job in America. So congratulations for all the voters in those 37 states. You all had no say-so. You had no say-so whatsoever when it came to your own presidential election. Be proud of yourselves. You live in a broken democratic system. But you voted, right? So you're allowed to bitch, but the ones who didn't vote aren't. You're the one that put these corrupt people in power, but you're the one who's allowed to bitch. I don't know about that. For some people, if they don't vote, they're probably not doing anything else politically. But for a lot of other people, if they did not vote because they did not agree with the system, well, then that means they could be doing more. You could give money, donate, you could volunteer, you could speak out. There's lots of ways to fight for your candidate instead of just voting. You could run yourself, run your own campaign. If you don't like the establishment, why not put yourself out there? Why not put yourself in that seat? Let's see how you would do. I'm only picking on the irrelevant safe states, so maybe it might irk you a little bit and you might change things. Ranked choice voting is the fair way to do things. Get ranked choice voting, and I think that changes everything. It changes everything. It changes, and you actually get a democracy. You actually get one. So many good ideas come from third parties. That should be the debate. But right now we have one right-wing party and another right-wing party and no oppositional party.